It's week 2 of the college football season as the Cowboys head to Tempe, Arizona to take on the Arizona State Sun Devils, and Coach Gundy is with us. And how much more do you know after week 1? A lot? Some?
Not a lot. We know some. We certainly know things we need to improve on. We've talked a lot about the running game. The running game was below average until the start of the fourth quarter. Line blocked better. Running backs ran harder. We got to get considerably better in that area. We'll work a little bit each week. We didn't tackle well in the first game. I was concerned about that. As the game went on, tackling got better. We were able to play a number of guys at each position. And interestingly enough, the number of guys we played at those positions, not just the quarterback position, but when you added all their averages up, they played pretty good mentally. We had some basic assignment and alignment mistakes, which is fairly common defensively when you start the season. And with it being a new concept, even though we've practiced a lot, there's just an adjustment we'll go through. All 3 quarterbacks played pretty good. Their numbers put together were good. I was pleased with our special teams, certainly did a good job with our blocks. We played 2 punters. Both those guys punted pretty well. Mm-hmm. Coverage units were good. So we know a little bit. People ask me all the time, when do you think you'll know? I can't imagine after game 4 that we won't have a pretty good feel for like who we are and what direction we should go permanently. But, just looking forward to playing again and kind of getting through the X's and O's side of any adjustments we need to make based on personnel. Colin Oliver was learning to play face up instead of rushing from the side. We learned that it's an adjustment for him. He should get better and better each week, but you just don't all of a sudden start playing face up when you've rushed from the side throughout your career.
So as you navigate the season, it seems like there become a couple of challenges. The physical side, obviously, but the mental side as you get into conference play and the opponents can get pretty extravagant in what they do. Is that part of what will decide this in terms of who plays? How do they hold up physically, and how can they manage sort of the crisis on the fly that comes, especially in conference play when the bullets are flying, so to speak?
Well, both. I think that, those are good points, and that's true. And the fact that the interesting thing about college football is we prepare all of August, and I've seen this happen every year. But it came back to me yesterday. You forget that once the season starts, we don't do a lot. We practice Tuesday and Wednesday. That's 12 times a year, okay, and before you get into postseason. That's only 24 practices. Well, we practiced, 28 times before we started. And we're already down to through the second week now, so we're down to 20 practices and the season's over. So all the different concepts and schemes and adjustments came to me yesterday again. That's why you have to be really good at just your base, because you can't do a lot every week. There's not enough time to get good at it. And then you end up doing too much, and then you have a lot of missed assignments. You turn the ball over. You give up big plays. That's what you want to try to avoid.
Will you have the same quarterback plan this week?
Yeah, we're going to give each one of them a number of series. And then at that point, if we have more, we'll decide who we think gives us the best chance to finish the game at that point for whatever reason.
Could you have imagined 10 years ago you'd have a 3-man quarterback rotation at any point?
I couldn't imagine it 5 years ago. But we talked about this. This is the future with the era of the portal.
Yeah. So,
and Bowman has done great and in practice well and deserves to play, but, he was the guy that came in as the mature guy. So unless he just fell on his face when he got here, you've got to play him. But remember, you can't discard the ones that are already in your program. All you can do is watch practice. And if guys compete and play well enough, unfortunately only one of them goes out there. Unlike wideouts, there's 3 of them, so you can play a lot of players. But at the quarterback position, guys have earned the right to play. They need to work it out on the field. And I'm hoping that this is an advantage for us as we move through the season.
Arizona State, the opponent, a lot of new players, a new coach, a ton of new players. In fact, I think the second most, the second largest turnover in college football behind Colorado. But schematically, with what they're doing defensively, you've talked a lot about the fact they play a lot of man. How do you feel like you match up?
Well, it'll be the first challenge for us from that standpoint. There's advantages to defense and man. There's disadvantages. We know that. We've done that here a lot, both sides of the ball. So we feel like we have a good plan for it. In third downs, they're going to pressure. They're going to stand 6 people on the line of scrimmage. We'll bring them, drop them, bring them, drop them. That's what they want to do. It'll be interesting to see how they feel that their personnel matches up against our receivers. I feel like that we have mature receivers now that have been around a while. I know Bray hadn't played a lot, but he's been around a while. That much different than we had the last 2 years. When we played teams that said they wanted to play man against us the last 2 years for whatever reason, particularly injuries, we struggled. Mm-hmm. I think we have guys now that can make plays in man coverage, and we're certainly going to find out Saturday night.
On the other side of the ball, it was interesting. Coach Dillingham from Arizona State talked in his news conference about the fact that the defense that you play now, this 3-man front with an umbrella on the back, for lack of a better description, they don't see it. Nobody in the Pac-12 plays it. So I know you're still just getting into this defense, but could that be an advantage? I mean, I just think about the trouble that Iowa State's defense gave to people when they first started running it.
I hope so. And that's another reason that we wanted to move to some odd front, in that we struggled preparing for it. And I'm going to guess that they worked on the odd front in August, not just this week.
Yeah.
That would be my guess. So I'm interested in seeing what they do or what they think they need to do from a scheme standpoint to move the ball against us, because we've worked at it for years. And then, of course, this defense or an odd front has grown in this conference because of the high-flying, powerful RPO, fast-paced offenses that have been in this league for 12 years. That's why it got started in this league, is to try to slow all that down. So it's interesting to watch it.
Time now for What's Your Beef. It's brought to you by Old Trapper Beef Jerky. You can see the quality of Old Trapper Beef Jerky right through the clear plastic packaging. So someone brought this up to me earlier this week, so I thought I would ask you, with the portal going on and so forth, would you be in favor of having an exhibition game or maybe some kind of a spring game jamboree where you could have a full scrimmage against a real opponent? What do you think? That's a loaded question.
It's worth thinking about. My personal opinion, you'll get kickback from the players and their agents on possible injuries in the spring, which could keep them from playing in the fall. Mm-hmm. From a coaching standpoint, it would give us a little more in preparation for what we would do in August.
That's What's Your Beef, brought to you by Old Trapper Beef Jerky. Again, you can see the quality of Old Trapper Beef Jerky through the clear plastic packaging with lots of delicious flavors. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you next week.